This kind of experience that we've had over the last couple years now, it's been more and more common. Frequent patching in fighting games, especially, has been really interesting. Games that get patched frequently are super common in every genre, right? I'm sure a lot of you play, shooting games, BRs, MOBAs, and those games get patched all the time, right? Games like League of Legends get patched every 2 weeks, and card games, things get changed all the time. Fighting games, for a long time, didn't really do this, right? We sort of had version updates, right? Where it was like once every year or 2 years or whatever, X amount of time, a new version would come out, and so it was like Street Fighter, and then there was Super Street Fighter 4, and then Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition, and then obviously in Street Fighter 5, they moved to a season model, where there was like, more frequent patching, but they kind of do like a mini patch halfway through the year, and then like one big patch once a year. But it's very interesting because one thing about playing games that are patched more frequently versus games that are not is the nature of your commitment kind of changes. The version of your character that you played last patch, right, and the patch before that, they're gone. They don't exist anymore, and you'll never see them again. And this version of this character will not remain for forever. One day will be the last day you play this version of this character. I think a competitive player's perspective, or like players who want to succeed perspective, right, and get wins, you have to decide on how you engage with learning the game. One thing that's interesting is that if there's a lot of, stakes on the line, competition, points, money, etc., then learning things that are complicated and difficult are not really that valuable. Trying to learn things that take a long time and mastery and craft, etc., on a game that has frequent patching is very difficult. You sort of have to gravitate towards things that are a little bit simpler, a little bit faster to learn, a little bit more cohesive. Like, you don't have to spend 4 months learning the character and mastering them, because by the time you've mastered them, that character's changed 5 times. Maybe they're much better. Maybe they're much worse. The game has just dramatically changed and moved past where you were, right? And with patches, one thing that happens is that the game will change before you can get to the end phase of it, right? Before you can get to the phase where everybody is trying to really dig deep and understand and figure out what's going on in the game, you can't get to that phase very easily, or you have to try to get there very quickly and make guesses and kind of leap to places, because the game will change so quickly that you have all kinds of new stuff to learn and discover about your character, about the other characters, about the overall game. Killer Instinct was interesting. So I played KI. Every month, KI would just get changes. There'd be a new character out, right? Brand new to learn. And there would also be new changes to different characters. So 2 to 3 characters were different or something every patch, right? They got little changes or big changes. You can imagine trying to develop and discover what was going on in KI, as they were doing stuff. That game was getting shaken up all the time. And it's really interesting to think about going from frequent changes, where you can kind of like pick strong stuff and then gravitate towards what's easy and powerful. And then at the end of the game, now that the game has settled, right, you really get to sit down and lean into the last version of the game, like discovering what is the best things and optimizing everything. There have been games that have adjusted how they've patched as well. Like NRS games in general, people were like, guys, all you do is patch every other week. Every day there's a new update with tons of new changes. I hate it here. So then they waited longer, and then everybody was like, where's an update? This character's broken. Help me. They're so used to the old cycle that they complained about, that when it didn't come around, when there weren't changes like once a month or 2 months or whatever, they're like, please, this character, Jackie's broken. Come back, save us. There needs to be an update right now. I think when you patch super frequently, IMO, there's an expectation that the things you don't like will get nerfed or changed very soon. I think that's sort of the expectation about frequent patching is, oh, this thing is really dumb, this patch, it's broken, it sucks. Next version, they'll nerf it and it'll be good, right? Like, so it's just sort of the thing you blame for that patch. Your entire life is spent like constantly hating whatever is currently good in this patch. And if there's not a patch fast enough, you're like, how could they let this game sit here with this broken state where like this character is like this? Even if it's not that dramatic, like even if the character or the thing is like not that broken, like they just have no tolerance for a game not changing and not being changed every X amount of time, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, month, whatever their change cycle is, right? It's been 4 weeks and there's been no nerf on this character. This is an absolute pitiful display of developing. It's like the opposite of like building tolerance. It's like their tolerance is removed, right? And the thing is like, even if the balance patch comes out and the game's in a great place, they're going to be pissed about whoever is the strongest or whatever. It doesn't even have to be the strongest, whatever thing they don't like the most. You built up that expectation of things changing. You can't fix them. they're just like that. That's just how they are. For me personally, I think I like larger changes once every X amount of time, like, you know, half a year. I'm not like a huge, like, you know, let's change the game every week kind of person. I could deal with it. I'm pretty tolerant to whatever, but I think I like more spread out changes, particularly for fighting games because we're freaks, you know, we really like digging into fighting games.
Listen.
Have you guys seen this shit?
Yep, the Clark crash. The Clark crash.
When people in the 98 beta try to command throw you, it just crashes. I saw this and it was like, if all games crashed when you got command throwed, and it was like the Utopia meme. Yeah, they actually banned grapplers. It's fixed now. Can we roll back the version? Yeah, this, but with Ram Jump S. That's exactly what I was thinking. If she does more than 5 Rekkas in a round, the game crashes. It's like, nope, get that fucking bullshit out of here. Axel does Ren Send Pop, it hits me, game just closes.